Good morning, multimedia. This is Mr. McCarthy. Happy Friday to everybody. For today's activity and for today's lesson, we're going to focus on repetition, the act of repeating things. Okay, so follow along. Here we go. Okay, so we are back to our business card, Mr. Ralph Royster Doyster. When we take a look at this business card straight away, we see right alignment. I hope you recognize that. And we have a bolded name of the business, followed by Mr. Doyster's name below, and the address, phone number, bottom right. Let's take a look at another card. Okay, so the compositional, not the compositional element, the design element we're dealing with today is repetition. And so the change, I hope you recognize here in the two cards, let's take a look at them. Whoops, we're not going to get a chance to see them side by side, is the bolded nature here. So Mermaid Tavern and the telephone number here at the bottom, they're both bolded. So the repetition in this case would be the bolded nature of the two fonts. Why would a designer do that? Well, the designer's trying to draw your attention to two things: the name of the business and the phone number of the business. So the main goal of this business card is for you to recognize the establishment and to direct your attention directly to the phone number. They expect you to use that more than, say, the address of the place. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so we're looking at a page from a book. And first thing we see as far as repetition goes are the looks for both the title and the subtitles. Same type of font. This is a larger font because it's the title. And then for subtitles, Wirenut, Hormone Nurture, and Tree Beers, whatever that is, all repeating the same type of font and size. Okay, we see the exact same thing happening here. The only difference is the font look is different. All right, a little bit different here. If we're working on a multi-page document, let's say we're putting a short pamphlet or even a book together, we see the page number down here. From one page to the next, we want to repeat the look of the page. And as you can tell by these arrows wouldn't actually go in a book, but they're trying to draw your attention to elements that would repeat from page to page. And so you see at the very top here, every page would have a line going across, and then in the middle of that line would be a bolded element that matched the top of the image here. We're also pointing out these subtitles, same size, same font, and then for each footer element of the page, we'd have a line going across the bottom, and the page number would show up in the same place. And this would obviously be for pages that appear on the left side of an open book. For the right side of an open book, that page number would be on the opposite end, because page numbers generally are on the outermost edge of documents. Okay, and this is what I just went over. So consistent double rule on all pages. Consistent typeface. Typeface and fonts are the same thing for the subheads, and then the spacing would be consistent as well. That single rule, page number, bottom corner, again outermost portion of the page. Okay, and so we see another page from that same book, and even though the content looks different, we see that the elements, the design elements, are the same. All right, and then this would be a right-facing page. That's because the 13 is on the right side. Then notice the bullet points here, they're slightly stylized with a inverted triangle there. And that would remain consistent throughout. All right. And I just addressed these elements, but if you want to take a quick moment to read through those. All right, we're moving on. All right, so what we're looking at here is we're looking at an envelope, business card, which is a little bit unusual because it's a vertically oriented business card, and then letterhead here. All right, so this is for Red Hen. Looks like it could be a restaurant. That's what I'm guessing. And so our design element's repetition. So we've just focused on repetition occurring within a single page. Here we see repetition occurring from one type of printed document to the next. This is otherwise known as branding. So here we have the Red Hen has branded its typographical identity in a very specific way with the selection of font, color. We see this vertical line moving up the top left. In this case, our alignment, even though it's on the left side of the page, we see it as right aligned. And this is consistent in all three of those documents. Okay, this is a little less designed, but from a very basic design standpoint, as far as repetition goes, we see the repetition of the font for the title. This would be the name of the person. This is sort of a resume, and then for each area of the resume, same font, same weight of the font, the bullet points all square going down. There's a consistency to all of it. All right. This looks like kind of an invitation. Why don't you take just a moment and see if you can identify repeating elements. I'll wait for just a sec. All right, so let's take a look at a few things. Looks like we have left alignment here. Okay, we've got this block, and inside the block looks like left alignment here, but it's not alignment we're talking about here specifically. We're looking for repeated elements. And so the first thing that comes to my mind are these triangles that are sort of sprinkled about. Not only are they sprinkled about in mainly yellow on blue, here we have blue on yellow, which provides a nice little contrast, but we also see those elements in the illustrations of the coffee pot and the cups throughout. Okay, so there's that consistency that marries a lot of these elements together, and it's through the repetition of that shape. We even see it in the exclamation point here at the bottom. All right. Other elements, we see a rectangular shape here for this text block on top of another rectangular element it's horizontal. On the right, we see that shadow element from each of the illustrations moving throughout there. Ready? Okay, so this looks like a series of signs that might be posted at some sort of a business. And as you can see, the designer was trying to create a consistency among these different signs that might appear at different times in different places. And so just take just a moment there. Just in your own mind, where are the repeating elements here? See if you can tick off a few. Okay, first thing that jumps to my mind are those rectangular boxes that are purple. Those are the things that really just kind of jump out at me first. I see the consistency of font selection and even the arrangement here. Notice that they're not lying flat on a baseline. They're sort of dancing about there. It feels like there's movement in this font. The stylized illustrations of people look all the same, even though the people look different. Looks like it came from the same artist's hands. And then the time that's listed on each one, it's different font than the main font, and all of them red. Okay, and then we see at the top of each of these elements a reminder here, day of the week on top here. All right, so the goal here, trying to brand a message, and we see that moving throughout each of these three documents. All right, we're back to the mom and pop letterhead. And as far as repeating elements on here. Let's just take a look. All right, so this would be maintaining a branding of a particular business, but playing with it a little bit. So the elements of the branding, obviously, are these two icons, one representing mom, the other representing pop. We see a consistent display font up here at the top, and forgive the print job here, we start to lose contact with some of the information in the bottom. And then, so how have things changed? I don't know if you can see this watermark right here. Big watermark of mom. And this watermark, if somebody from this establishment is writing a letter, you would actually write or type over that watermark. Nevertheless, it's a design element that some people find very attractive. We've got pop that's moved to the bottom here, and then the consistency between those two documents is that left dotted line that falls on the left side. Okay, take a look at these elements. You look at these two business cards, you may not know what this is, but you immediately recognize this comes from the mom and pop store simply because of the watermark of mom. The fact that you're familiar with seeing this already throughout this presentation, we don't have to say Mom and Pop's Corner Grocery Store on it. We know what this is. That is a result of branding, a result of consistency and repetition in design. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is your assignment for today. Okay, so yesterday I asked you to put together an alignment. For today, I'm going to ask you to put together 3 looks for repetition. Okay, so in InDesign, what I'd like you to do is create a folder, and then, well, I tell you what, I'm going to record one more video after this, and I'm going to go over it very briefly in InDesign. Okay, so look for that second video, and I'll meet you over there. This is Mr. McCarthy, signing off.